All this today. I don't know if this is, I've not seen this discussed anywhere else. A privilege list was just released from the Johns Hopkins Medicine Office of Diversity.
First of all, that shouldn't exist. just that office should not exist.
A list. What was the one thing, Katie? The matrix? What was the
oppression matrix.
Oppression matrix.
Insanity.
So
oppression matrix and the privilege list.
Yes,
we've seen the oppression matrix, and now this is the privilege list.
All right.
Johns Hopkins.
We're still waiting on Neo to show up, but we'll go.
How do you get this job? Johns Hopkins Chief Diversity Officer.
Yes, you know people, and you are brown.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
That's how you get that job.
Qualifications.
Those are the qualifications for that job.
Johns Hopkins Chief Diversity Officer, Dr. Shanita H. Golden, wrote in the January 2024 issue of Monthly Diversity Digest. This is all real. I know.
The grift is real.
I'm not making this up.
That grift is real. Do you know how much money is just changing hands for this kind of bullcrap? Just to monthly. There's a monthly publication talking about how bad Whitey is.
How long?
And they get money for this. And I'm sitting over here like, I work like 12 hours a day, y'all. I was like, maybe I'm in the wrong business. Rocket science and radio only goes so far. Maybe I need to create my own diversity office so I can tell white people how bad they are, and they give me money for it.
I will. As far as I'm concerned, you are hereby immediately the News Talk STL chief diversity officer.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna put that on my resume.
How long do you think the Monthly Diversity Digest has been published? I had no idea.
I'm betting somewhere around 2017, 2018 when it started.
So this month, the January 2024 edition
costs $150,000 a month to publish.
Yeah, digest says, quote, privilege is an unearned benefit given to people who are in a specific social group. Privilege operates on personal, interpersonal, cultural, and institutional levels, and it provides advantages and favors to members of dominant groups at the expense of members of other groups. In the United States, here's your list.
Okay.
Privilege is granted to people who have membership in one or more of these social identity groups: white people, able-bodied people,
oh boy,
heterosexuals, cisgender people, males.
Cis is a slur.
Males, Christians.
Okay. Yeah.
Middle or owning class people.
Okay.
I'd not heard that one. Owning class.
All right.
What do you have to own?
That's a good question.
Anything? Like, what if you just own?
I don't know.
Book.
I was renting houses to people who owned TV screens that were bigger and better than mine. I remember that, and they weren't paying me any rent.
Mm-hmm.
Two more.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Keep going.
You're good. Two more on the list. Listen to this one. Middle-aged people.
Middle-aged.
That's a pretty wide swath.
That is.
What? Why only why not older? Like what?
I'm not Dr. Shanita H. Golden.
Do you lose your privilege after you leave middle age?
And finally, English-speaking people.
And English. Well, it's.
I'm sorry. This list is what again?
The privilege list.
The privilege class. People belonging to those classes have unearned privileges.
Privilege operates on personal, interpersonal, cultural, and institutional levels and provides advantages and favors to members of dominant groups at the expense of members of other groups. In the United States, privilege is granted to people who have membership in one or more of these social identity groups: white people, able-bodied people, heterosexuals, cisgender people, males, Christians, middle or owning class people, middle-aged people, and English-speaking people. The newsletter also emphasized, quote, privilege is characteristically invisible to people who have it. People in dominant groups often believe that they have earned the privileges they enjoy, or that everyone could have access to these privileges if only they worked to get them. In fact, privileges are unearned and are granted to people in dominant groups whether they want those privileges or not, and regardless of their stated intent. After the message went viral, Golden sent out a news statement yesterday retracting the newsletter and claimed it was not intended to offend anyone.
You offended most of America with
Everybody.
That. That's most of
middle-aged people,
Okay.
English-speaking people, Christians.
English-speaking, middle-aged, white, straight, cis, I hate that word.
Me too.
Males in America. You know, the guys who predominantly make up our military and things like that. Our firefighters, our oil workers. Those are the people that she say are the privileged class.
Yeah. How about middle-aged English-speaking Christians?
Yeah. That's
a pretty big chunk.
That's most of America.
But what really baffles me are the people that are subscribing to something like this. Do they hit any of those qualifications? I mean, the people
they
paying,
have to.
But the people paying for that.
It's impossible to avoid that list.
The people that went to, the people that went to Johns Hopkins, aren't you offended by someone in leadership representing that school saying this is what qualifies as white privilege? This is what qualifies as, whatever, living your life that you don't
living
deserve.
At the top of the oppression matrix.
Yeah, you don't deserve it. I have a best friend that just graduated from Johns Hopkins. She's a nurse now. She's wonderful. But this is a question that I'd like to ask her maybe this weekend to say, this is coming from your university. This is coming from your college, just like the MIT stuff.
Just like Gabe at
Doesn't
MIT.
this make you upset that this is how they're representing you and the college you paid money to go to that you're slaving over to pay off the student loans to? It just is so disappointing.
It's written in English. So I imagine that everybody subscribed is an English speaker. So
what's funny is that I think there are so many people who jump on that bandwagon, even if they fit all the criteria, because they want to, instead of be grateful for all the gifts that they were born into in America. First of all, being born American is a gift. It is a privilege. They want to feel bad about it. It's this weird. It's a weird sort of self-flagellation that they go through. Maybe somehow by acknowledging that they have blessings, that they are somehow alleviating the guilt they feel for. I don't get the psychology of it, but it feels like something weird. It feels like something that needs to be treated.
Yes,
honestly.
Yes.
What I will say that is a little bit optimistic is that it so quickly got called out and then redacted, because I think a year ago or 2 years ago that would not have happened.
Right.
That's a good point.
It would not have been
That's
called out as quick. People would have been too afraid to be labeled, an ist of some kind if they said something negative about something like this. And the backlash was so swift and so overwhelming that they had no choice but to redact it, along with the statement. I said that she said that it was not intended to offend anyone, and said, quote, "The newsletter included a definition of the word privilege, which, upon reflection, I deeply regret. The intent of the newsletter is to inform and support an inclusive community at Hopkins, but the language of this definition clearly did not meet that goal." Like, I don't think that apology.
No,
I don't think that apology happens a year ago, 2 years ago. So
it also doesn't quite cover it.
No, I know. Oh, it got even close. But I mean, you gotta take a win when you get it.
I can't understand what they believe is justifiable when they say our intention for this newsletter was to be inclusive, when the entire time they labeled people to be non-inclusive.
Yes.
They're saying all of these qualifications are white privilege or whatever they labeled it as, to be divisive, to not be inclusive.
Yes. It's so weird too, because I mean the primary definition, the definition that she started with in that whole thing actually exists, or I should say existed in like the Royals era, in the era of the fiefdoms and things like that, where you actually had a royal class who were born into a level of privilege that other people were incapable of moving into. And that's I think that's one of the things that we forget the divisions between, what it means to be born into privilege in America
Classes.
versus born into a different class in other systems. In other systems, you cannot move your class. You cannot change anything. The privileges that you're born into are set or lack thereof. But in America, the whole point was people move classes all the time.
Yeah.
People's privileges, people's abilities don't create a stagnant system in which they can never escape.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point of
Yes.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
so
not,
thi-
and
this
it's
thing
not
is just
perfect, but it's
a heck
much
of a lot
better than
everything else.
everything else, and we continue to get better
Mhm.
and better, and people want to, still try to find a way to call us out. And we talked about this earlier this week. There is privilege in America. It lies with money and power, and we saw it on display. with Hunter Biden.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Bursting into the House of Representatives.
Rolling
That's
up with
privilege.
his entourage
None
like
of
he's
us-
a wannabe rapper.
none
or
of us
something.
could do
It's like,
that.
Oh my gosh.
We saw privilege on display at Harvard, and with how long it took for Claudine Gay, and she still is making nearly $1 million a year.
Yes.
like she
still
didn't-
works there.
She still works at Harvard and
Oh,
still
yes.
has her salary, which is a massive
Bonkers.
salary. She did not pay the price for being anti-Semitic on national, in the federal government.
Did you know she came from a
that's
very wealthy
privilege.
family in Haiti? Did you
That's-
know that?
Wow, I did not know that.
She does not have the humble beginnings that a lot of people want to make out. She's
There's
from
a-
she's
I'm gonna
from those
read it.
people.
Yeah.
There's a whole,
Okay.
whole lot of things about her. Here it comes again.
Oh my god.
There's a
a
whole
frog.
lot about her that is fake, as we've learned.
Oh gosh, yes.
Plagiarism
Yeah.
Straight up fake.
at the top of the list.
Mhm.
All right, that is Gabe Fiver. He is going to stick around in studio with us, and we're going to be joined by Ken Williams from the Vic Porcelli Show. Did you guys see? I saved this specifically for when Ken was going to be here. Has anyone seen the video that Donald Trump posted on Truth Social today?
No.
In response to the interview that we talked about yesterday, Katie, when Jill Biden was interviewed by Mika
Oh, I might have seen this.
on MSNBC yesterday,
I might have seen
and
this.
was asked about Joe's age, and Jill Biden said the president's age is not a concern; it's an asset, and he's got wisdom and all of this. Well, as a response to that interview, Trump released a 30-second video on Truth Social today, and I'm going to play it for you
Okay.
Oh my
and
gosh.
get everybody's reaction
Oh my
to
gosh.
it next
I'm excited.
on Colombo and Katie.
We could bring about a new unity and stop these lies. Years away. Celebration time for you and for me. Celebration time. We're in harmony.
Free speech is alive and well in America
Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what isn't.
right here.
The country is heading in the wrong direction under this president.
We're suffering shortages. America's running out of everything.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
As we start off the year, a lot of people making New Year's resolutions and, sort of addressing areas of their life that they may want to do a better job in. And I think a lot of people this time of year are sort of going over their personal financial situation, financial future, financial plan. And there is no better person or team to help you with that than David Ryan, president of Cadre Asset Management. You've heard David on the show many times. We have worked with him here at the radio station, but also personally. The Colombo family has worked with David and his team. He is the best and the person that I trust the most when it comes to information or help with planning and knowledge when it comes to finances across the board. Whether it's financial planning, estate planning, retirement, investments, business financing, David Ryan and his team at Cadre do it all. So if you need help with your financial future, you need to contact David Ryan and Cadre Asset Management. Now, learn about how they can help you secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
How's your health care? Insured but afraid to use it because of high copays and deductibles? You wait weeks for a few minutes with your doctor? It's Dr. Randy Tobler, and I struggle with the same issues as both patient and doc. You want to know that you're the focus, not the billing codes or faceless denial experts at insurance skyscrapers, which is why I've decided there's a better way. At Body of Health Direct Primary Care, you'll receive timely and time-rich appointments in person or virtually, whichever fits your needs and schedule, along with hundreds of free medications, transparent and truly affordable labs, and most importantly, a trusting relationship. We'll dig deep for solutions to problems and fill you with holistic coaching to minimize the need for high-powered medicine or specialty care. Now, if you need that, I'll work with specialists to streamline that journey too. And if it's prenatal care, hormonal, or sexual health that's bugging you, I'm board certified in women's health. Want a Body of Health? Get to know us at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Come join the conversation.
Enable our Alexa skill. Hey, Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Always streaming at newstalkstl.com or on your radio at 1019, 94.1, and 99.1 HD3. News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion. Welcome home. This is 1019 and 94.1.
Female, millennial, Trump supporter. I listen to it like every day. Like, seriously, you get it.
News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo Katie on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the morning. Here it comes again. Here it comes again.
Can you please tell that frog to go home?
Froggy.
Go away.
It hasn't happened all day.
It happened to me today,
Take a drink
too.
of the
I
800
have.
drinks that you have over there.
I don't know what is going on. This has not happened all day or any,
It's
all
the
week.
studio air.
It just started, like literally
It
with the show.
Remember,
Katie,
you
it's the
had
studio air.
Remember, you were all choked up.
Today I was.
The last time, 2 Fridays ago, you were all choked up. and
Yeah.
you were like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
in the studio
Yeah, I
air.
was I couldn't stop coughing.
We need to increase the ventilation system.
I don't know I don't know. I'll keep an eye on it. Sorry.
Kermit
So,
keeps showing up.
Gabe Pfeiffer is here from Mike Ferguson in the morning, and now Ken Williams
Hi.
is here from the Vic Porcelli Show. And now I'm actually upset with myself that I showed Ken this video right before the show. I should have saved it.
The blind reaction.
I should have saved it to get everybody's reaction, but I
Yeah.
was so excited. I was so excited, and I thought it was so funny, and I knew if anybody would really appreciate it, it would be Ken Williams. And I was like, Ken, you got to come see this.
Man,
So-
it's perfect.
So we talked about this on the show yesterday. Yesterday morning, Jill Biden, First Lady, was interviewed on MSNBC on Morning Joe by Mika Brzezinski. And Mika asked the First Lady, what would you say to voters that are concerned about the president's age and mental ability to serve another 4 years? And she said that his age is not an issue, that it's an asset. He has wisdom. He's got more.
It's an asset.
She said, like,
He's unflappable.
I see him every day, and his energy levels are, off the charts. And I'm paraphrasing, but she used the word vigor, and all these things that clearly are not the case.
Yeah.
So today, or late last night, Donald Trump posted this on Truth Social, and the audio is fantastic. I recommend if you think this is good on the radio, look it up for yourself and watch the video that accompanies it. So here we go.
At White House Senior Living, our residents feel right at home. Our vibrant facility offers delightful activities and outings, round-the-clock professional care, and exquisite house-made meals.
I've been eating everything that's put in front of me. I've been eating all Italian food, basically. And ice cream, chocolate chip ice cream.
White House Senior Living, where residents feel like presidents.
I think it's great.
White House Senior Living, where residents feel like presidents.
That is perfection.
And when the
simple
the
perfection.
part that says that we have regularly scheduled outdoor activities, it's Joe walking on the beach. And he looks like he's a million years, like the smallest little baby steps possible.
You don't want to slip on the sand.
They
dragging a shirt behind him. Like,
24 hour medical assistance, and it's Jill Biden helping him put his jacket on at a press conference. Yeah.
If you watch the video, you did just show me that. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was so amazing.
That's
and
hilarious.
It's Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to have some input on this. It wasn't just his people.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure he had something to do with it. And what reminded me of, Katie, when I saw that, what you said earlier this week, how Trump's influence on political behavior, across the board, how people like Hunter Biden and so many others have tried to be the performer that Donald Trump is.
Yes.
To be that, like look bold and tough and do things. And that's why people like Hunter Biden are more emboldened to do what he did. And, we've seen, like even all the way back to Marco Rubio trying to be a different person during the presidential campaign. But nobody has had any success with it or been able to do anything with it besides Donald Trump. Everybody that tries to do something like this fails, but Trump always finds a way to make it works.
I think it's because before I watched this video of Trump doing the ice bucket challenge. Remember back in 2013?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Trump, obviously, it's 2013. He had no idea he was going to run for president, none of that stuff. He does the ice bucket challenge. He has Miss Universe and Miss America dumping the ice on him. And his whole thing during the ice bucket challenge was like, I'm Donald Trump. I'm awesome. I'm on top of Trump Tower. I'm doing the ice bucket challenge because everybody wants to know if my hair is real or not. And you know what? We're putting on a show. We're doing the thing. The reason why these videos work for Trump and the grandiose behavior works, it's because it is Trump. That is how he was at the ice bucket challenge. That's how he was at Miss America.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he has always been. That's who he is. But if Marco
Authentic.
Rubio, But if let's
Marco
say
Rubio, that's perfect.
Or Nikki Haley, or if DeSantis did, if they put out a video of their opponent and did that, I would say yucca.
Cringe.
Total poor taste, disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
But Trump does it. I think it's hysterical.
What do you think, Gabe?
Well, first of all, I think it shows the power of humor in our politics. I think a lot of people have kind of lost the plot when it comes to that. The Babylon Bee's ability to evoke satire with political messaging, and things like this ad, I think, are where a lot of political campaigns would like to go. But like you said, Katie, I don't think they're capable of doing it because it would come off as inauthentic.
Yes.
Now, Ted Cruz has a pretty wicked sense of humor. So if you ever catch some of his, his tweets, he's pretty authentic in the way he expresses his sense of humor. But it's a Ted Cruz sense of humor. It's not something else.
Yeah, you got to stay authentic.
You got to stay in your lane.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's one of the things that the various campaigns, everybody has a sense of humor. Just don't try to be somebody else. That's working over there. I'm gonna do. It's like making a knockoff Star Wars movies or something.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it. You
Don't
can't.
do it.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
Especially you, Disney. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm still mad.
It's been knockoff Star Wars since they bought it.
I call it space conflict now.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised they don't call it that.
I think Trump's humor, his New York humor, has saved him. I think Trump jokes a lot more than people realize. Like when he made that statement, the very end of that first statement he was saying when he was being asked by the Arizona twins, as we call them, Martha McCallum and Brett Baer.
Yeah.
He at the very end of that he said, "Well, I'm beginning to like more Chris Christie more because Chris Christie is out now.
Dropped out.
He dropped out." But that was funny. That was just funny. He didn't laugh.
Right.
But that was his New York humor, and people need to understand. Folks, this is Donald Trump being funny. That's just the way it is.
New York and New Jersey sensibilities in terms of humor is different.
And being with Vic.
Actually, our sensibilities in everything is a little different. You got to understand it. I don't know.
And I knew this, but being with Vic for the last 2.5 years, I've learned a lot about that New York humor.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's real. It's a thing.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes very dry.
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah, and very sarcastic.
So all of this, obviously, the timing is great for everybody. Any political maneuver right now is very impactful because we're 3 days away from the Iowa caucus. 3 days.
3 days.
3 days from now, people will be
Wow.
voting for president in this country. That is incredible.
So it begins.
Yeah, no kidding. Ken, as a big Trump supporter, as we are 3 days away from the Iowa caucus, how do you feel about Monday? Is it going to be the big win that a lot of the polls say it is for Trump, or are you at all concerned that it could be closer than those polls say?
I always preface it with saying it's the Trump policies that I really admire the most, and I think that the Iowa people of Iowa, they're going to see the same thing. I think that Trump is going to win. I think Trump needs to win big. I really do. I think he needs to win bigger than what a normal person would, because he's been touting it that way. If he doesn't win huge, but he wins, that's good.
Yeah,
but it would be much better for him if he did win big.
That's a good point. Like if Trump only, right.
If
he only wins by 15 points, which is a landslide,
that's huge.
But if
in
he only
politics.
wins by 10 or 15 points, you're right, kid. People will be saying like, "Oh, okay, it's not as not as popular as he thought he was," and it's kind of partially his fault because he does say, he does talk about how his lead is 40-50%, and he might be right. It might be that, but yeah, if it is, that is pretty funny that a 15-point win in any election is a landslide. But if it happens on Monday, it'll be like everybody will be saying, "Wow, look how close it was."
Yeah,
yeah. What do you think about Monday?
Yeah, I think the same thing. Although I think actually it is going to turn out that way, where he's going to be a big win. But it's going to be closer than what the polls say, and a little closer than what he's be talking about. But I think that's one of the downfalls of the New York mindset, especially like a New York real estate sort of mindset, which he has. He's going to take you into the apartment. It's like there's no better countertops than the countertops in this.
Right.
Yes. We had this imported from across the world. Nobody loves it better. It's perfect. There is no better kitchen than the kitchen in this apartment.
Look how flat it is.
And of course, okay, look, it's a great kitchen, right? But it's not the best kitchen in the world.
Right.
But that's just how he talks.
Yes.
So the problem though is the rest of America doesn't talk that way, and doesn't know very many people who talk that way.
Look what the TV says.
That's right.
Look what the TV says. They're spying.
This is nuts.
They spy on us. I'm telling you.
That is so nuts.
So
stop stealing our content.
I want to get everybody's thoughts on this. Rand Paul weighed in on the presidential race today. He released a video and launched a website. Here we go with another website. Nikki Haley with RonDeSantisLies.com, and now we've got another.
And I like Rand Paul, but I'm like the website.
Do you know what this is?
I do.
Okay. Well, I'm going to roll it out. I want to get your thoughts first, Katie. Rand Paul released a video and a website today and gave his thoughts on the presidential election. He said, quote, "I've had a long relationship with Donald Trump, and there is a lot to like there. And that, quote, I am also a big fan of the fiscal conservatism of Ron DeSantis. I think Vivek Ramaswamy has been an important voice. Also, I've listened to and met with independent Bobby Kennedy. I'm not yet ready to make a decision, but I am ready to make a decision on someone who I cannot support. I'm announcing this morning that I am Never Nikki."
Hashtag.
That's going to be the new
hashtag.
Never Nikki.
Never Nikki.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Paul then directed viewers toward the website nevernikki.net,
Oh my God, I'm writing this down.
which outlines his criticisms of the former South Carolina governor and UN ambassador. The website features a red line through the name Nikki, and it says it is paid for by Rand Paul for U.S. Senate.
Oh my.
He says, quote, "I don't think any informed or knowledgeable libertarian or conservative should support Nikki Haley. I've seen her attitude towards our interventions overseas. I've seen her involvement in the military-industrial complex. I've also seen her indicate that she thinks you should be registered to use the internet. I think she fails to understand our republic was founded upon people like Ben Franklin, Sam Adams, Madison, and others who routinely posted anonymously for fear of government reaction. And I think her failure to really understand that and to think that you should have to register through the government somehow for the internet is something that should disqualify her in the minds of all libertarian-leaning conservatives. I don't know how much Rand Paul's endorsement or non-endorsement of anybody has influences voters. I mean, I like Rand Paul, and I
do too.
Me too.
But if he endorses somebody, it doesn't make me go, oh, I'm voting for that person now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know how much impact this has, but if anybody's been, besides Donald Trump, if anybody's had the wind at their back and has had momentum over the last couple of months, it's been Nikki Haley. She's passed DeSantis almost everywhere in the polls for second. So she's been on a pretty good roll. I don't know. Does this do anything to slow that down?
I guess that's really hard to say if it does do something to slow it down. However, he made valid points. She did say that she wanted people to register to use the internet and register and not have anonymous accounts on social media.
Mm-hmm.
That is a big ding. Like, when she said that was not good. Yeah. She also is known for her hawkish behavior, specifically when it comes to things happening in Ukraine. I mean, she is someone that has been notorious for being I would categorize probably a war hawk. Mm-hmm. All of that aside, though, I don't know if Rand Paul is the make or break for people's decisions, especially because the video that he put out saying this, I was like, homie. It was like him behind
I didn't watch
tree,
the video.
he
I
had
just read it.
shades on, and he was
Oh,
just
come
like,
on.
The video was not
Was
a
a little,
good setup.
little cringy.
I was like, ooh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so
Politicians wearing sunglasses.
outside.
That's
it was just a whole.
That's almost never going to work.
It was, I hate to even say this about Rand Paul because I do like him so much, but it was a little bit old manny. Like, it was like, and
Yeah.
not
That's-
Nikki.net is where you're going to find the information. I'm like,
Did he start with www?
Yeah. HTTP.
That's usually a tell.
Yeah.
It's usually a
Did not do
tell.
that.
When I think of politicians wearing sunglasses, I don't know if anybody remembers the disastrous during the 2020 election. There was a big thing down in Florida by the Democrats. It was this big online because of COVID at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big online rally for Joe Biden. It had all these like various Florida Democrats speaking for him, and
Basically a giant Zoom call.
yeah, and it was horrible. It was like technically it was a mess. Like nobody knew when they were on.
I vaguely
the
remember
camera
that.
was like the feeds kept cutting out.
Like I said, like a giant Zoom
It
call.
was- it
Remember
was-
the early days where nobody knew? Actually, some people
Yeah.
still don't know how to deal with Zoom calls.
Yes.
It's like, how is my camera? And like the camera's down underneath. They're making like a double chin into the camera. Is
Yeah.
my camera
Yeah.
on?
Right.
Or they're not on camera at all.
Yeah.
Or that one guy who was like, I'm not a cat.
Yes.
He had the cat. He had the cat
Right.
mask
Green
over
screen, yeah.
the green screen thing. Yeah. So it was like that.
It was
I
like
rem-
a Saturday
I remember
Night
that.
Live skit.
I remember that. It's
And
like
when
people not knowing
and
how
it
to
was
use
a
the technology
disaster
at
all the way through. And then at the end, when it's time for Biden, I can't remember who, some Florida Democrat gives this big introduction, and the next president of the United States, Joe Biden, and he's like standing in like a kitchen, like 10 feet away from the camera, like leaning on the wall, like looking cool.
trying to look.
And he's got sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And and they cut to him after that big introduction, and he's just standing there.
Yeah, because
And he stands there for an awkward amount of time.
Nobody knew to cue him.
And then he goes, after like 30 seconds of silence and standing still, trying to hold this cool guy pose, he goes, am I on? And then he's looking off camera and he goes, am I on?
Oh,
And then he nods his head and he goes, now?
well, see, that's actually the problem with Joe Biden, because you know what? All these Biden supporters on social media, they'll never give him video. They'll never do video of Joe or him talking. What they do is these stills of him in his shades and the pose.
It's Darth
are
Brandon.
The dog.
Dark Brandon.
The dog.
Brandon.
The dog. He's always got the dog like late. Well, not now that the dog's biting everybody. But for a long time, it was like
Commander.
he would like be on the deck with the dog laying next to him.
But they're always
And his
stills.
son-
Yeah.
They're
Oh,
not
yeah, they're always
him
stills.
standing tall and everything.
Right.
But then you see him walk, and you're like, what happened there?
Yeah.
You know, I think that's
Stumbling
what
over the grass.
I think that whole shade thing, though, the dark Brandon thing, is just fake.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
totally fake.
It's such cringe.
Ken,
man.
what do you think of nevernikki.net and Rand Paul's statement?
Nikki needs to be reminded that conservatives especially don't. It's less government, and I think she sometimes thinks that we need to do this overreach. We need like the internet thing. She does that more often than just the internet thing, and then that whole hawkishness. Trump, look at Trump, man. He'll step in the first day, bomb somebody with the Moab, and say, "Okay, this is how I do it. Stop now. Everybody, cool down, because if this happens again, it's going to be even worse." She wants to go to war. She wants to take people there. And I don't think that's the right move.
Yeah. Gabe, your thoughts on that, and then on this statement by Rand Paul, and then also you go first, and I'll go around the room here, and then we'll go to Steve Templeton and get the forecast. What is your prediction on Monday as far as the, not just who wins, but how it plays out? How big of a spread do you think it might be?
Oh wow, okay, that might be tough. But just in general, in the whole Never Nikki thing, I think it's interesting. I think that's funny, especially given her constant references to the DeSantisLies.com. Janet, my wife, she was watching listening with me, and she was like, "Okay, I'm done with this." It's like if she answers with that website one more time,
yeah,
she was
DeSantisLies.com. It was every answer.
Every answer. It was like 14 times, basically over the night. But I think Rand Paul just pretty much articulated the hesitancy of every conservative and libertarian to begin with. Anybody who was paying attention to it. Now, if there are people who aren't aware of her positions in those regards, this might be an informative website for them. Yeah. So, if they are somebody who, kind of follows Rand Paul but hasn't been following the election, and then, they come across this, they might get some information that they didn't have before. That might change their mind. Because the thing is, because I was watching it as it happened, my opinion of Nikki Haley fell pretty sharply upon my realization of that. So if there are people who aren't aware, and this makes them aware, that could have an impact. But I don't know what that means, especially in terms of polls, because the polls are so weird now because things are different. Nobody's answering their landline and then talking to a pollster because they think it's their civic responsibility. The people who decide to answer their cell phone when the unknown number shows up and they hear and they see that it's a poll, half the time they're saying, "Let me screw with these guys."
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I don't really trust the polls.
So real quick around the room, what is your prediction? On Monday,
Trump. I can't put a percentage on it. I feel weird putting a percentage on it.
That's fine.
But
Trump by a lot or a little?
Like we were just saying before, I think a lot in real terms.
Yeah.
Not as much as the polls or he would suggest. So it's gonna be a little closer than that. I'm not
or
sure.
DeSantis
I think
second?
DeSantis second.
Yeah. What do you think, Ken?
I think that we're not paying attention too much to the actual activities that are happening in this world right now. Inflation, the border being open. I think people are going to be comparing them to each other, but I think people are actually seeing Trump's track record and knows what he has done in the past, and they're going to say, yeah, Trump. And I think Trump's going to win big. I really do. I think he's going to be
second?
20 points. I think second. I think it's Nikki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Katie?
I agree with Ken. I think it's going to be
Trump by a lot and Nikki in second?
Not Trump by as much as he thinks, because Karen Fessler told us that 50% of Iowans
We're
are
still
undecided.
Yeah.
So not as much as he thinks he is, but Nikki definitely second, I think.
Yeah. I think Trump by less than 20%, and I also think that Ron DeSantis is still going to hold on to second place. So we will see how that all.
The room's divided.
Oh no!
Have a great weekend, everybody. Ken Williams, you can hear every day on the Vic Porcelli Show at 9 a.m. Of course, Gabe Pfeiffer every morning at 5:30 on Mike Ferguson in the Morning, and on the St. John the Philosopher YouTube channel. Fellas, thanks so much as always for your time.
Hey, thanks you guys. Have a good weekend.
Thanks,
Be safe.
guys. God bless.
All right, there's some weather heading our way, and we are going to get you a full update on what to expect and plan for tonight and through the weekend when we talk to Channel 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton next on Colombo and Katie.
On the next
Larry Larry Connors USA.
Dr. Fate now admitting all the social distancing they were practicing during COVID. He admits now it was not built on science.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Steve Templeton's Weekend Forecast, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.994 News Talk STL. We will be talking to Channel 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton here in just a moment, and he will be giving us the weekend forecast like he does every Friday afternoon at this time. But this weekend is an especially important one with some weather heading our way, some possible rain or snow, and also the temperatures are about to drop tremendously. I was actually outside last night, kind of late in the night a little bit, and went outside and was bracing, to be freezing cold, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And then I thought to myself, this might be the last time that happens, because it's about to get really cold. So as soon as we get Steve on the line, we will get that forecast from him. I want to remind you right now about a great event coming up on Saturday, January 27th. Katie and I's band, our band, is playing Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine on January 27th at Westport Playhouse. Great venue. This is going to be an absolute blast. It's our band along with Close's Quarters, which of course is Mark Close from KC95. So that is going to be awesome. Lenny Mink is also performing that night. The doors will be at 6:30, show at 7 o'clock at Westport Playhouse. Tickets are $15. They're on sale now at westportplay.com, and 100% of the proceeds go to Thrive St. Louis. That is awesome. So this is going to be a party. It's going to be a fun night of music. We've got a lot of great special guests and special surprises that we have planned for that night. So it's going to be a great time, and it's all for a great cause, and that is thanks to our sponsors, Weber Chevrolet and Gutter Pros. Can't thank both of those groups enough for supporting this event, for supporting local music, and making it possible for this awesome show to be 100% for Thrive St. Louis. So again, westportplay.com. That's the Westport Playhouse website. Get your tickets now and join us on Saturday, January 27th. Can't wait for that show, Katie. It's going to be a blast.
It is going to be so much fun. I cannot wait to meet up with our friends and have such a good time playing with Close. I mean, I cannot believe we're playing with Mark Close. Insane.
So we do have Steve Templeton on the line now. Steve, I know you're super busy tonight and probably and through the weekend, so really appreciate your time as always. Walk us through it. What do we expect tonight weather-wise, and then obviously with the big change in temperatures coming our way?
Hey, Tony, I'm sorry. I turned off my alarm that lets me know to give you a call because the past Fridays, because of the holidays, I was off. So I first want to send you an apology.
No worries. No worries whatsoever, my friend. We just appreciate your time, especially on a day like this where there's some stuff coming our way.
A lot going on. Here's the deal. As far as the snow goes, you'll see some light snow or flurries, but nothing's going to accumulate. The big story is the cold, the wind, and will we see icing as we head into the evening drive? Because we've had some rain, but the winds are going to help try to dry out the pavement. On top of that, the DOT crews are working hard to, now that the rain is gone, lay down some treatment and some chemicals. So we're getting really cold. We were near 50 earlier. We're at 50 earlier. We're at 35 now. We're going to go below freezing. Even though the air temperature may be 28, the roads are probably around 34, 35. So around 4 or 5 o'clock, I think the temperature on the roads is probably close to freezing. By 6, 7, it's getting below freezing. And then deeper into the evening, a better chance for icing. The big question is there any moisture left on the pavement? And we're hoping it's not a widespread icing issue. I think, puddles that are deeper and take longer to evaporate, I think those are going to ice over. So just watch for patchy icing as we head into the evening drive and in your Friday evening plans. You'll see a few flurries, but no accumulation there. The big story is watching for that icing, the cold, and the wind. Temperatures will be in the 20s. Wind chills will be in the single digits this evening. And the gusts will be 40 to 50 miles an hour. Wind advisory is in effect through 6 a.m., but I really think the strongest winds will be about 6 p.m. through about 1 a.m. And that can take down tree branches. Sometimes you get an isolated power outage. It's usually not widespread, but an outside chance of that. That's what those type of winds can do. And then as we head into the weekend and next week, it's just really, really cold. So tomorrow, 15 for the low, a high of 21. At best, our wind chill is 6. There's a 20% chance for isolated light snow shower in the afternoon, but keep in mind the ground's cold, so even if we get a dusting, it would collect quickly. Sunday, mostly cloudy, -1 for the low, 11 for the high. The morning wind chill will be around -21 Sunday morning. And then Monday, MLK Day, a 20% chance for some snow showers, a low of 4, a high of 13. The wind chill will range from around -1 to -11. I mean, just absolutely frigid. This stretch from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, that's going to be the coldest stretch we've seen in almost 3 years.
So stay safe, stay warm. Check on anybody that you may be concerned about through the weekend that it struggles with their ability to do that. Stay safe and stay warm. And then just to be completely clear about tonight, no accumulation. That's great, at least for the drivers, for people driving. And then, but obviously the ice possibility. When do you think that icing possibility is going to be in full effect during the drive home this afternoon? Like when is the sort of window that could be the worst in your opinion?
So I would say be cautious between 4 and 7 p.m. And I think after 7 p.m., whatever moisture is still there is going to ice over.
Okay.
So I think 7 o'clock and beyond, it's icing. 4 to 7 is that period where the road temperatures are starting to come down. Bridges and overpasses cool first. And it's kind of a race between the winds helping to dry out the pavement versus the temperatures crashing. It does help that we have noticed that the DOT has been laying down some treatment, but just be cautious, especially side roads, sidewalks, driveways, untreated areas. If there's any of that leftover moisture, it'll ice over by this evening.
Yeah, with those temperatures that are heading our way, everything's
So
going to
cold.
freeze. Steve, thank you so much, as always, for the information and updates. And everybody stay safe out there this weekend. And thank you again, and enjoy your weekend as well, my friend.
All right, take care. Stay safe, guys.
So much. Thank you. Steve Templeton, chief meteorologist over there at Channel 4. So definitely some very cold and icy temperatures heading our way, so be careful. Joe Biden's trying to bail out student loan debt again. I'll tell you about it next on Colombo and Katie.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer.
Hi, everybody. It's your buddy Todd Showalter along with my buddy Joey V from The Right Mind Show. You know how they always say New Year, New Me? Well, we don't say any of those stupid things here. But you know what? Every week we do have a new guest right here on The Right Mind Show. Isn't that right, Joey V?
Stop being so stupid and forgetful. Put it on your calendar. Saturdays, 5 p.m., Right Mind Show. Get in your car. Don't drive anywhere. Just look at the radio until sound comes out.
And if you do miss the show because you're watching Matlock at that time, make sure to tune in to rightmindshow.com. That's rightmindshow.com for all the show replays. And plus, what better things do you have to do on a Saturday at 5 o'clock?
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. U.S. officials say the U.S. and British militaries bombed more than a dozen sites used by Iranian-backed Houthis. The military targets including air defense, coastal radar sites, drone and missile storage, and launching locations. Lisa Dwyer has more.
The military targets include logistical hubs, air defense systems, and weapons storage locations. The strike marks the first U.S. military response against the Houthis for what has been a persistent campaign of drone and missile attacks on commercial ships in the Red Sea. The coordinated military assault comes just a week after the White House and a host of partner nations issued a final warning to the Houthis to cease the attacks or face potential military action. The impact of the warning was short-lived. Houthi rebels fired their largest ever barrage of drones and missiles targeting ships. Then, 2 days later, the Houthis fired an anti-ship ballistic missile. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Also at townhall.com, the Justice Department says it will seek the death penalty against the now 20-year-old gunman convicted of killing 10 black shoppers at a Buffalo supermarket in 2022.
There is no death penalty in New York. So when the young white supremacist Peyton Gendron was sentenced for the 10 killings last year, he received life in prison without parole. But the federal government has the option of seeking capital punishment in the hate crimes case against him. Gendron had said if prosecutors declined to seek the death penalty, he would automatically plead guilty to the hate crimes. The Justice Department rarely seeks capital punishment because President Biden opposes that penalty.
Jackie Quinn with that report. Stocks finished mixed. The Dow down 117 points, but the NASDAQ was up 2 points. More at townhall.com.
Here's a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-355-4107 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-355-4107. That's 800-355-4107. What do you have to lose? Call 800-355-4107. Again, 800-355-4107.
British Prime Minister Rishi.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a rough afternoon out there. Winds are gusting in excess of 45 miles per hour at times. Temperatures are crashing. We'll be in the 20s this afternoon and into the teens by this evening, with those gusty winds putting wind chills down in the negative numbers by 9 o'clock this evening. So watch for patches of ice from the rain that it fell before the cold air moved in, and now it's all freezing. Overnight lows tonight are going to be dipping down into the teens. Highs over the weekend will only be on Saturday about 21, 11 for the high on Sunday, 13 on King Day on Monday. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. IFEL.com.
Fox News commentary.
First Lady Jill Biden complains that Republicans are being mean to stepson Hunter. Give me a break, Jill. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Being a better and more coherent speaker, First Lady Jill Biden has taken up interviews in place of President Sleepy Joe. This week, she joined the hacks over at MSNBC's Morning Joe to bash Republicans for mistreating her stepson, saying, quote, "What they are doing to Hunter is cruel." Oh, Jill. Not only is that completely ludicrous, it's also hypocritical, and so much so it hurts. First of all, Hunter Biden has been handled with kid gloves, considering he should be arrested on the spot and held in contempt of Congress. Second of all, for First Lady Jill to complain about the mistreatment of Hunter given what her husband and the left have done to the Trump family is just too rich. But expect to see the White House trot out this narrative more and more as they hide from all of their scandals and hide Joe Biden in the basement. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
Most folks don't realize this fact. Our country is only 4 missed meals away from chaos, and those meals can vanish fast. In a national emergency, fragile supply chains break down and will wipe grocery store shelves clean in a matter of hours. Before this happens, there's something you should do today. That's stock up on emergency food storage. My Patriot Supply is the company millions of American families trust for their emergency supplies. You should too. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each kit contains delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. My Patriot Supply also sells large solar generators, gravity-powered water filtration systems, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, heirloom seeds, and other survival necessities. Order by 3 p.m. and your items ship the same day, fast. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Those who know what's coming prepare before the chaos starts. mypatriotsupply.com.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Everybody has a right to have their opinion and voice their opinion.
Live and local.
I always approach it from this standpoint. Leftist malfeasance is presupposed.
This is News Talk STL. You're listening to Colombo and Katie. Stream Colombo and Katie at newstalkstl.com.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Lot of information and great discussion packed into that last hour. Great time to remind you that if you missed any of it, make sure you are subscribed to the Colombo and Katie podcast, because then you will never miss anything that happens here on the show. We put the show out as a podcast right after we get off the air every single day, and we put the podcast on just about every podcast platform. So whatever one you use, whatever one is your favorite, just make sure you're subscribed to Colombo and Katie, and you'll never miss anything that happens here on the show. Just a recap in case you missed it, we just talked to Steve Templeton, chief meteorologist over at Channel 4. Tonight's forecast and the weekend forecast, not maybe as serious as it kind of looked like it could have been, but still definitely something that you need to be aware of and, plan for and careful with. So tonight, no accumulation, but the temperatures are dropping and it's going to get extremely windy. The drive home, he said the window between 4 and 7 p.m. To be cautious on the roads because of possible ice patches and things like that, not because of snow accumulation. And then he said, and then certainly after 7 o'clock, be very vigilant about the ice. And because not only is it going to get very windy, it is going to get very cold. The high tomorrow, Saturday, is 21. The high on Sunday is 11.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Did he say that in the mornings it's going to be in the negatives? I thought
the wind chills are going to be in the negatives. The lows are going to be in the single digits.
David's trying to play disc golf. David's like, don't care. I'm layering up. I'm going to play disc golf.
It's also supposed to be like, listen. I admire. I admire the dedication. I mean, I've gone fishing and played sports in weather that shouldn't be, doing that in. However, with disc golf, if you want to fight through the cold, that's fine. But it's supposed to be really windy, and I would imagine that has a massive effect.
I don't think he knew that, so I'm going to have to tell him it's going to be very windy. I'm going to have to tell him that. But David told me last night.
He said like 50-mile-an-hour gusts is what Steve just said.
David's going to blow over. I told him last night, I said, go ahead and play disc golf. If you have the layers and you want to do that, I know that you love doing that every single week. Go ahead and do it. But we were talking last night and I was like, we're going to talk to Steve today. What is the actual temperature going to be like? The wind factor I didn't even put that two and two together. So that's something I'm going to have to tell him.
Yeah.
He's going to blow over.
Early in the morning, it's going to be probably in the single digits as the regular temperature. And then the wind chill will be probably under 0, probably be negative.
And no snow either one of those days.
No snow, which is, that's one of the good things, I think, especially for, travel and people driving. But definitely, I'd rather have snow than ice. So,
Me too.
There could be some ice out there. And there certainly will be as the weekend goes on because it's going to be so cold. So be very careful driving home tonight and throughout the weekend and do everything you can to stay safe and warm. And again, a big thank you to Steve Templeton and the entire Channel 4 weather team for always keeping us up to speed on what's happening out there here at News Talk STL. All right, we are going to have a little Friday fun time here in a few minutes. In about 15 minutes from now, we will be joined by our buddy Tim Convey from the Courtney Show, the morning show over at the Arch. He is playing the Funny Bone this weekend. He's headlining the Funny Bone right down here at Westport Plaza this weekend. So we're going to have a little fun. We'll talk to Tim Convey in a few moments, hopefully send you off into your weekend with a smile on your face. But a few more stories to cover before then, including today, Joe Biden announced his plan to bail out students for loan debts under $12,000. So Joe Biden, he got shot down on his last attempt to bail out student loans, but hasn't slowed him down at all. He announced today that some student loan borrowers enrolled in the Saving on Valuable Education Plan, the SAVE plan, will have their remaining debts zeroed out next month. The plan, which Republicans have said will transfer millions of dollars to taxpayers, applies to borrowers enrolled in SAVE who took out less than $12,000 in loans and have been in repayment for 10 years. Biden said in a statement, SAVE is an income-driven repayment plan that calculates payments based on a borrower's income and family size rather than its loan balance. The administration did not detail how many individuals this would impact. Around 3.6 million student loan borrowers have already seen their loans reduced to 0 monthly payments as part of the plan, which was originally announced last year in the wake of the Supreme Court striking down the White House's plan to cancel basically all student debt. And in his statement today, Joe Biden said, quote, "It's a part of our ongoing efforts to act as quickly as possible to give more borrowers breathing room so they can get out from under the burden of student loan debt, move on with their lives, and pursue their dreams. And in the wake of the Supreme Court's decision on our student loan debt relief plan, we are continuing to pursue an alternative path to deliver student relief to as many borrowers as possible, as quickly as possible. The other way to say that is they are trying to find a way around the Supreme Court's decision.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
And they were striking while the iron was hot, because during the beginning of Biden's presidency was the stopping of the paying of student loans because of the pandemic. And don't get me wrong, David and I have student loans. So it was a blissful time for, a period of just to not have that kind of weight around our necks. But the reality is, as we've talked about so many times, when something like that happens, the debt isn't just forgiven. It doesn't just disappear. It goes somewhere, and someone does have to pay off that debt. And it's a campaign promise that Biden had won over hearts and minds, especially from Gen Z and especially from millennials, because it did hang so heavy. But it's something that's not going to be accomplished.
Not real popular with people that have just recently paid off their debts.
Absolutely.
And fought and struggled to get that done.
Or chose a different path because they said, I don't want to have that kind of debt. So I'm choosing to do something else, whether or not going to college or a trade school.
We were paying off student debts. My wife's, not mine, because I didn't last long enough in college to accumulate that big of a debt. But we were well into our 30s.
Yeah.
Well into our 30s. Well, very impactful on the start of our careers and family and all of that. And to act like it can just be erased, magically erased.
And you don't have to ever think about it ever again.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
It's just, the whole thing is ridiculous. But, as the president stated today, he's not hiding it. Doesn't matter what the law is, doesn't matter what the Supreme Court says. They're going to find a way to try to get around this and do everything they can to add this burden onto taxpayers.
I wonder how many people he's lost because he hasn't been able to fulfill the promise.
That, and how many people he's lost because of the promise.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Another today was a bad day for the president because he was caught in another lie. He is coming under fire from conservatives and Democrats for posts that he wrote as president when he was running for president in 2020, when he condemned President Trump for bombing Iran without congressional approval. Because last night he bombed Yemen. And I'm not even saying that was a bad thing, but it's something that he was critical of when he was running for president of Joe Biden doing. He said back in 2020, quote, "Let's be clear. Donald Trump does not have the authority to take us into war with Iran without congressional approval. A president should never take this nation to war without the informed consent of the American people. As president, I will use military power responsibly and as a last resort. We will not go back to forever wars in the Middle East." And he posted that in February 2020 with the hashtag #DemDebate. So it was right before one of the presidential debates. Last night, the Biden administration announced it launched missile strikes in Yemen in response to attacks by Iran-backed Houthi rebels on ships in the Red Sea. This was met with outrage from the progressive left and this exposure from the right. Representative Anna Paulina, Republican from Florida, reposted that message from Biden and said, "That aged well." And then Rashida Tlaib said, quote, "Joe Biden is violating Article 1 of the Constitution by carrying out airstrikes in Yemen without congressional approval. The American people are tired of endless wars." Look, Iran's been messing with us. They've been attacking U.S. soldiers and sites. I have no problem with the action taken, but it is exactly what he said he wouldn't do and exactly what he criticized Trump for doing. So he's once again caught in a lie. He's being exposed as a liar by conservatives and the progressive left, who don't want him
doing
bombing
anything.
are mad at him for this. So not a good day for Joe.
It is interesting. It is interesting how much you can discover from 4 short years ago. Whenever you look on someone's Twitter and you can say, pulling up the facts from February 2020 and just say, this is what you thought, this is what you said whenever Trump was president. I do have to agree with you, though. I don't necessarily, I think besides not getting the approval from Congress, but I also wonder, because he is the commander in chief, this is probably a much deeper question, but because he is commander in chief, does he have to have approval from Congress to do something like that?
War.
Okay.
War. He can take military action.
Okay.
Well, on behalf, under the, if the United States is attacked or for national defense purposes, emergency purposes, definitely don't need congressional approval for that. But to declare war or start war or anything like that, then you do need congressional approval. So presidents definitely have
power,
ability to use military strikes without Congress's approul.
I don't necessarily. I agree with you. The action doesn't make me
Iran.
upset.
In fact, Iran has not been. We should have been dealing with Iran at a much more severe level for months.
I agree.
It's about.
I don't
time
condemn
we've
him
done
doing
something.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still what he said he wouldn't do. It's what he on the campaign trail.
Yeah.
Blasted Trump for. And
all you have to do is pull up a tweet.
And he's making his own party upset as well. One more about the Bidens here. Hunter Biden's lawyers say they now will comply for a hearing or deposition if the House panel sends them a new subpoena. Hunter Biden's attorney, Abe Lowell, told the House Oversight and House Judiciary Committee today that if a new subpoena is issued under the duly authorized impeachment inquiry, the first son, I can't even say that. That is the dumbest title, will comply for a hearing or deposition. Lowell penned the letter to the committees today saying that the initial subpoena was not valid as they were issued before the full House of Representatives voted to formalize the impeachment inquiry against the president. But now that is that has been voted on and is happening, Hunter will show up if they send a new subpoena. Funny to me, the timing of this, because reports are that the House is going to make a decision on and take a final vote on his contempt of Congress charges on Wednesday. So this seems like after the tough guy performance earlier this week, it looks like the Hunter Biden team has realized that their bluff has been called.
Yeah, recalculated.
And they're about to be found in contempt of Congress. And all of a sudden it's just send another one. We'll come.
I'll comply.
We're sorry.
I'll finally
we'll come.
comply. Don't worry about it. It's interesting because remember that with that first subpoena, there was speculation that Biden did give him advice to not go.
Yeah.
And we talked about this yesterday or 2 days ago with this PR stunt. And I was thinking about it last night. You brought up, like, do you think the president had something to do with this big hocus pocus ordeal? I mean, how far is President Biden actually involved in the actions of his son? Yeah. And now all of a sudden is President Biden, who could possibly be advising him, saying cutesy time is over.
Yeah.
Like there is no way around this anymore.
Yeah. And we heard Jill Biden, the first lady, during that interview yesterday with Mika, said that she was proud of Hunter and his behavior. And so that's not the president saying it. We still haven't heard the president, but the president does say that he is okay with or defends his son barging into a congressional hearing. That's a big deal. That's a problem.
Yeah, big
because
problem.
Again, flip test that, and if Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr. is barging into Congress while Donald Trump is president, just think of the way that would be covered by the media and reacted to by Democrats. You think it would be okay?
No.
You think
way.
it would be not a big deal? You think
no
it would?
Way.
No, it would be. They'd be calling for everybody. They'd be calling for charges against, Donald Trump Jr. They'd be calling for charges against Donald Trump as president. They'd be calling for everything. So, talk about privilege earlier.
Yeah.
Hunter's privilege was on display. I think they should send him a new subpoena that he will comply with and still charge him with contempt of Congress because he's guilty of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We are going to talk to our buddy Tim Convey from the Arch Morning Show. He is headlining at the Westport Funny Bone this week, so he is going to join us for a little Friday fun time next on Colombo and Katie.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
If you are starting the year thinking about selling your home, there is one team to call, and that is the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. They are the number one home selling team in the area. We have worked with them in person. Our family, they were the ones that sold our house, helped us find our new house last year, and it could not have been a better experience. The Wallners are selling 15 times more homes per year than your typical home seller. They have so many qualified buyers right now that they guarantee to get you an offer. And so the numbers are there, the stats back it up. But when you talk to the Wallners, when you work with them, you see it. You see the work ethic. You see the experience. They are they're a married couple. They bring that family perspective to the conversation as well, which was important to Christine and I. They work as hard as they can to get the best results for everyone that they work with, and it really shows. And it's still a great time to sell your house. There's been some changes since we went through the process, but it is still very much a seller's market. So take advantage of that before the opportunity passes you by. And again, if you've been thinking about selling your home, you need to call the Wallners now. Call them at 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner Home Selling Team.
Sometimes you want to do something extra special for someone. Vincent's Jewelers can help you. Maybe you want to do something for yourself. Mark a date, something you accomplished. It doesn't have to be anything really expensive, but it has to mean something now and for the future. Vincent's, locally owned, just ask for the chance to work with you, as they have with me, on Olive, just east of 270. Every day, new specials at vincentsjewelers.com or Vincent's Facebook.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
I'll be honest, today's commentary might make some of you angry at me. We're talking about January 6th. Ashley Babbitt fatally shot on that date. If you recall, she was the one crawling through the window, broken window, to get into the House of Representatives. Lieutenant Byrd of the Capitol Police fired a shot, hit her in the upper shoulder, knocking her back. They tried to perform CPR on her, but they could not save the life of the 35-year-old. Now, there are many who are saying that Lieutenant Byrd saved lives that day. Based on what we know actually did happen, he did not save any lives. He did take a life, Ashley Babbitt. And here's where the dissension for some will be. He had a right and responsibility to shoot. His duty was to protect the House members, and there were many still inside. He could see her hands, nothing in them, but he didn't know what she had in the backpack, or did she have a suicide vest? He could not let her get inside the chamber. She had every reason, opportunity to turn back. She didn't. The question for you is, what would you do if you're in that situation and your family is in the room and the person keeps coming through the window?
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
I'm always glad to have new sponsors, but I have turned some down. See, I only endorse clients if I believe in them. And I've been a spokesman for John Beal for 10 years. Through those years, listeners said they went with John Beal because they trusted me. And just recently, a woman named Mary wrote, "We got a John Beal roof based on your recommendation." Thank you, Mary, and all the others for calling John Beal. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
Great news for my sponsor, Napoli Sea. And it's no surprise to me, nor hundreds who have dined there. The first time I entered, it was clear Napoli Sea is unique. The decor, the fish, imaginative cocktails, and of course, Napoli Sea is right next door to Napoli 3 in St. Charles. Napoli 2 is in Town and Country. The original Cafe Napoli is in Clayton, and I'm honored to endorse each of them. Visit any of the Cafe Napolis. One of the 5 most traumatic experiences in life is moving. I can assure you that McGuire Moving can help ease that pressure. Moving into a new home or a new business, locally, internationally. McGuire is rated number 1. More than 80 years of experience. Free estimate? Call McGuire, 314-241-0600. 241-0600. McGuireMoving.com.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
State Senator and new congressional candidate Mary Elizabeth Coleman joins us on Monday to give us the update of what's happening at the Capitol and in her campaign.
Mornings starting at 5:30 on News Talk STL.
It's 9 more miles to heaven. I'll be home with you. 9 more miles to heaven. I won't stop till I get there. I'm on this lonely road from Nashville.
Welcome back to Colombo Katie on 101.9 News Talk STL. Want to remind you as we go into this cold weekend, if you are looking at the calendar for the rest of the month, looking for something really fun to do at the end of January 27th, Saturday, January 27th, our band, Katie and I's band, along with Closest Quarters, which is Mark Close from KC95's band, and our buddy Lenny Mink and his band are going to be playing at Westport Playhouse. And it's going to be a night of great music. We've got a lot of great surprises planned. We've got a lot of special guests that will be joining us. And not only is it going to be a super fun night of local music, 100% of the proceeds for the tickets go to Thrive St. Louis. So it's a great night for a great cause. Thanks to Weber Chevrolet and Gutter Pros, our sponsors, make it possible that we are able to give 100% of the proceeds of the tickets to Thrive St. Louis. Those tickets are on sale now at westportplay.com, and get your tickets before they are gone. It's a great venue, going to be a great time. Looking forward to it. Hope to see you out there. And speaking of great events happening at Westport Playhouse, our good friend Tim Convey from The Courtney Show, the morning show over there at the Arch, is headlining the Westport Playhouse, the Westport Funny Bone this weekend, Tim. And the weather not doing you any favors, but still going to be a great weekend. How are you, buddy?
I actually just checked things out, Tony. Everything is cleared up, especially in the Westport area, tonight, Saturday, and Sunday. So it's nearly tropical.
Yeah,
it's perfect. It's perfect weather.
If honestly, though, we talked to Steve Templeton a little less than an hour ago, and this weekend it's going to be cold, but it's just going to be cold. There's not going to be any snow on the ground. The roads have been treated. I mean, obviously, you need to be careful when it's freezing cold. There could be an ice patch here and there, but it's not like a weather emergency or anything like that. Totally safe and easy to travel and go see a great show this weekend. So, in all honesty,
just really cold. It's nice and warm inside the Funny Bone. Have a few drinks to warm you up. It's cold weather. It's good comedy weather. That's what I think.
Yeah. So we talked to you on New Year's Eve and a little bit about this show, and you talked about you have a connection, of course, with that club, and I've seen you perform at the Funny Bone there at Westport, and I know this opportunity to headline the weekend is special for you. Tell us about it.
Tuesday night for the open mic, and it's where it started almost 10 years ago now. So this is a big. I've headlined other clubs. I've headlined the St. Charles Funny Bone, but I wanted to wait to do this one because.
You want to try to call him back?
Yeah.
Hey, Tim, you're cutting out pretty bad. We're going to try to reconnect. Yeah, you want to try to?
Let me do that.
All right, try to reconnect with him really quick. Also want to remind you that before we are done talking to Tim, I am going to bring up the study that we touched on at the end of the show yesterday, and I promised we would talk about again today. The study that has gone viral that I was just kind of mentioning as a quick little funny tidbit at the end of yesterday's show. The study that has just been put out by a group of dermatologists that say that men don't have to change their underwear every day that made Katie nearly vomit. So I promise we'll get to that in just a few moments. Tim, we got you back on the line?
Yes, sorry about that.
All right. So, start that over.
Start from the beginning.
Yeah, about the show this weekend.
Yeah, cut me off if you lose me. Westport Funny Bone, just one of the coolest clubs in the country. It's where I started doing comedy 10 years ago. I was terrified on a Tuesday night to do open mic. I've headlined other clubs, but I put off this one for a while because it's such sacred ground for me. So, yeah, it's fun. We started things off last night. There's special guests. I do a little music at the end, and I'm very excited. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad you mentioned the music. So along with the morning show every day at the Arch with Courtney and your brother and the whole team there, and the continuation with the comedy tour, the music with Ludo, like 2024, how's it looking for you in general? Sounds like your plate is pretty full.
Yeah, it's looking crazy. And I think I told you guys this last time, but we're having a second baby.
Yeah.
In April.
Yes. Yay.
Yeah.
Yay, Tim.
And the reason I think I lost you earlier is because I was in my basement. We moved yesterday.
Oh, gosh.
So things have been, it's been a little bit insane, but I cannot complain.
Can I ask you something, Tim?
Night.
Can I ask you something?
Please do.
Did you guys hire movers, or did you guys have your friends and family come help you move?
We hired movers.
Yes. Smart man.
You know, I'm 43. I think at like 35, people probably stop helping with their friends. You know what I mean?
At 30, I'm cutting it off.
I agree, but not everybody agrees, I don't think.
I'm like, the beer and the pizza don't make the cut anymore for helping move.
Go ahead, Tim.
I would love to record me calling one of my friends and saying, "Hey, man, I need you to come over and spend your day." And just hear the response.
Yeah, I've always been the truck guy, so I've gotten a lot of those calls.
Oh, yeah.
From
I'm
people that
sure.
sometimes I wondered, like, I didn't know we were this close.
And we aren't.
I was never that guy. I set a precedent early. I would be the last on anybody's list because people know that I'm not going to help you move or any manual labor whatsoever.
Lamp guy. That's what we call it. Lamp guy. You know, and while other people are grabbing the couch and the mattresses and things like that, the guy that you see continuously walking back and forth with like the toaster and the lamp.
Great.
Or I'm the guy that puts my hand on your back when you're going down the stairs with something heavy.
or watching the steps.
The steps.
Exactly.
2 more steps.
You're almost there. Just a couple more steps.
You're doing great. You're doing great. Bend your knees.
That's funny. We talked to our friend, everybody's friend, Greg Warren, also on that New Year's Eve show, and he's obviously traveling all over the place again. Are you going to be going? Are you going to be traveling at all with the music or the comedy coming up?
Yeah, I got a couple things coming up with Greg, and then and Nikki. Actually, I'm going to miss your guys' show on the 27th because I'm in Kansas City with Nikki Glazer. Here I'm trying to fit what I can in before this baby comes because I'll be grounded for a while after that.
Yeah, Katie and I are looking forward to this. This is something that, you've been in some of these conversations too. We've been talking with Mark for a long time about doing something together, and like a couple radio station bands having, that big supporters of the local music scene, doing something cool, tying in a charity that we can have some real impact with. Not $1 of every ticket goes to the charity, but something we can do. What we're doing, 100% of the proceeds going to a great cause, and we're really looking forward to it. And
and these bands are good. I saw you guys at the out at Diamond Music Hall.
Yeah,
did the birthday party when you guys celebrated a year, and like you guys, I was impressed. I was like, I want to see my friends. They're doing music. That's cool. It was awesome. I loved it.
Well, Perry Woods,
we're great.
Perry Woods, Alonzo, Tilton, and Katie. I mean. People don't. Katie does not talk about it enough. How talented she is, and her long successful background in music. So I am just a poser, and I know it. And that's why I go up and I talk to the crowd for a minute, and then I disappear.
Not
and I let the people with all the
You
talent
guys-
do the real thing.
You guys are great. Now, Mark Close, I will not endorse him at all. But you guys, speaking of Mark Close, last night was the first night of the weekend. Our friends from the Glover Show came out last night. So I got to see
nice.
Dave and Rachel and Andrew. And yeah, it had been a long time. So I was thinking about you guys. And then, obviously I see Close more than I care to. But it was
awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a good time. I like it when we all, we all come together to do things for the community. That's really important to Katie and I know Mark, and obviously Skip Weber and Gutter Pros, the sponsors of the show. So this is a perfect combination of all of the above, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. There are some really cool guests and surprises that we have planned January 27th, Westport Playhouse. Tim, I want to get into this story because I mentioned this yesterday, and I didn't really think it was – I just was thought it was a funny little quick mention. But Katie had a guttural reaction to – I don't know if you saw this report that was released by dermatologists that's gone viral that says men don't need to change their underwear every day. Does not apply for women.
That's atrocious.
But it does for men.
That's atrocious.
And it almost made Katie vomit yesterday. Let me tell you what they say. They say as long as it's you've had a day where you've had no vigorous activity, like lots of sweating or anything like that, it is totally appropriate and okay for men, not women, to wear underwear 2 days in a row. And they say especially if it's loose-fitting like boxers or something like that. So... I mean, less laundry.
Yeah, I saw that, and it's insane. First of all, who's relieved to hear this?
I know!
Who is it that's a chore to change underwear? Anyway, I also will say, I'm not a guy, especially in my new life, like the baby, all that. I'm skipping showers sometimes. But even if I skip a shower, I'm changing the underwear.
You got
would
to.
be insane to me to wear
Who's
2
asking
days
the
in a row.
question? Who was asking if it was okay?
Yeah.
Why did anybody even
Have
check?
to do a study.
Why did you know me with my OCD? If I put on socks for 5 minutes and then take them off for some reason, I can't put them back on. Once it's been underwear or socks, once they've
been
on and come off, they don't go back on. Whether it's been
Totally agree.
2 days is completely out of the question.
That is such a good point, though. Like, who is the person among us?
Who
that
was
is like-
asking if it was okay?
like, this is
Who
such a
asked for this
burden.
study?
This is a chore to change
Right,
my
that
underwear.
study came out yesterday. Who's repeating today? Who is
Who's the
today
repeater?
first day that they're doubling up?
And of course, it's a sexist study because they literally in the study say this does not apply to women. Women have to change their underwear every day.
It's so disgusting. It's so gross. I can't even think about it. Ugh.
Tim,
even if I'm camping and I run it, I'm going without before I'm repeating.
Yes,
Right,
Commando. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, hope you have an awesome weekend. I can't recommend it enough. I've seen Tim perform at Funny Bone at Westport, and it's an absolute blast. So remind folks one more time how they can get tickets and when are the shows this weekend so people can come out and see you.
Yeah, of course. So tonight, if you want to come out, again, it's just cold. The roads are fine. Tonight we have a 7:30 and a 9:30. Tomorrow, Saturday, we have a 7 o'clock and a 9:30. And then Sunday, a lot of people not working on Monday with the holiday. Sunday night we have a show as well. That's at 7 o'clock. Tickets are cheap. Lots of comedy, lots of guest music. It's going to be awesome. stlouisfunnybone.com.
Tim Convey, really appreciate it, buddy. Great to talk with you. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
You guys are the best. Thanks so much.
Yeah, back at you. Great stuff there. Great time this weekend. Can't recommend it enough. If you're looking for something to do, get out
Indoor
to Westport.
activity. It's an indoor activity.
Yeah, get out to Westport Plaza, the Westport Funny Bone, and check out our buddy Tim Convey. All right, that's going to do it for Colombo and Katie today. We're back on Monday at 2. In the meantime, keep it here for the O'Reilly Report next, followed by the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show at 4 and Larry Connors USA at 6. Thank you so much for listening to us and supporting us here at 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Imagined you in the front row, singing all the lyrics too.
Contact Seavers JCB now to take advantage of Section 179 of the IRS tax code that may entitle you to deduct the full price of qualifying equipment purchased or financed during 2023. Add to that JCB's incredible end-of-the-year financing opportunities, cash incentives, and rebates. There's never been a better time to own a JCB. Call Seavers JCB before year-end tax savings and financing offers expire, or visit online at seaversjcb.com.
Is your family prepared for the financial burden of losing a loved one?
Are you aware of the cost of a funeral?
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for life